Brazil and Cuba into the top of the third inning. That is the World Baseball Classic NASCAR car. And guess what, Buck Martinez? It won the Mexico Toyota Series race. It was driven by Abraham Calderon outside of Mexico in the Phoenix International Raceway. It was the first ever NASCAR series held outside of Mexico, and the WBC car won.
Beautiful logo, and that WBC written across the hood of that car. That's pretty cool.
It is. Top of the order for Cuba, Guillermo Heredia. Although I think it would have been better if Barbaro Arrua Barruena was driving. Fastball fouled out of play. Now, as long as we're delving outside of the World Baseball Classic, Barry Larkin, the skipper of Brazil, was interested in college basketball because his son is the point guard for the number 5 team in the country, and his son had a great game. Shane Larkin, 25 points, 7 assists, but number 5 Miami lost to Duke. And so there you go. There's the final again. 79-76. Number 3 Duke beats number 5 Miami. Shane Larkin, 25 points. His son Shane is a sophomore, and he is having an All-American type season. Miami having a terrific year.
Little undersized for a point guard, but boy, has he done a great job. He wasn't recruited by a lot of people. How about Shane Larkin and Trey Griffey playing in the same backfield in football in Pop Warner in Orlando? Barry Larkin said, boy, they were tough. 2 kids playing football with that kind of background.
Trey Griffey, the son of Ken Griffey Jr.
Trey Griffey is in Arizona now playing wide receiver, and of course Shane Larkin's having a great run with Miami. Barry Larkin wouldn't mind going deep into this tournament, but he also has in mind that Miami's going to be in.
Oh, they'll be dancing in March.
March Madness.
Throw to first. Nice play by Rienzo. He gets Alexei Bell. And Andre Rienzo, the 24-year-old, the farmhand of the White Sox, has looked pretty good here. He has walked 3, but when he's needed to make pitches, he has.
You can see Rienzo was talking to the first base umpire, Carlos Ray, and the first baseman, Daniel Matsumoto, also made a point to point it out that the base runner, Heredia, was well inside that base path as he went up the first base line.
Buck, there have been a few verbal exchanges between these two teams here, and it is an example of what we talked about last night in that this Brazilian team, even though they are underdogs, they do not back down to anybody. Tanaka makes the play across the diamond, and Rienzo glares towards the Cuban dugout and heads towards his. Andre Rienzo for Brazil, shutting down Cuba. We're scoreless. Fukuoka in Pool A, and this is a scoreless ball game. Cuba, the powerhouse, the number 1 ranked team in the world, and Brazil, the qualifier, and it's scoreless.
Well, I tell you what, Brazil has really not backed down. They've had to deal with their opponent's aces in the first 2 games of this tournament, and right now they have the only 2 hits to the ball game.
Marcio Tanaka was at the plate when Muniz was thrown out to end the second, trying to steal second, and that bailed Ishmael Jimenez out. Jimenez breezed through the first but ran into trouble in the second, gave up a double and a single, but Brazil did not score. He has struck out 3, hit a batter, he's walked no one. He's been out in front of just about every hitter he's faced, Buck.
Yeah, he sure has, and that was the MO we had on Jimenez. He was going to be able to command the strike zone with his fastball and then try to get the hitters to chase breaking balls that he starts in the zone and breaks them down and away from the right-handed hitters. He throws a fastball, curveball, slider, changeup, and a screwball. We've not seen the screwball yet. There's that slider, and Tanaka goes around. 4 strikeouts now for Jimenez, and he had a couple in the last inning, and he starts out the 3rd with a good strikeout. Watch the location of this pitch. I mean, he spots it on the outside part of the plate, and Tanaka just couldn't check.
Onto the top of the order, Paulo Orlando. Pitch count for both pitchers certainly a factor, and 35 pitches, 65 is the limit.
You can see Menace remind his infielders that Orlando will bunt. Pablo Orlando had a bunt single in the 5th inning of last night's game. He's also got some gap power. He had a triple in the qualifier back in November against Panama in game 1. Came around to score early in that ball game. He's an interesting player. He's played 7 years in the minor leagues. He's currently with the Kansas City Royals.
Off the end of the bat and flipped down the line, and it's a foul ball. This is Pool A. Over in Pool B, of course, a terrific start for the Netherlands as they shut out Korea, and they get right back at it. They've got Chinese Taipei at 1:30 Eastern. China and Japan back here tonight. China and Cuba. That also coming up as this week unfolds here in Fukuoka. Check your local listings for the exact time in your region.
Well, you don't get that at Fenway Park. The food here is very interesting and very good. I can vouch for it as I have done some sampling, Rich, and it's pretty good.
Buck Martinez now the aficionado of many a bento box here in Japan.
We have checked them out, and we will put our stamp on them. It's good food.
And we will go from Fukuoka on to Tokyo, and 2 teams from Pool A will go with us. Many expect that those teams will be the powerhouse in Cuba and the 2-time defending champ Japan. However, Brazil is not going quietly. They didn't last night. They had an 8th inning lead. Japan had to rally to win it, and here it's scoreless in the bottom of the 3rd. Jimenez, a swing and a miss.
Another breaking ball in a good spot, down and away. That's 5 strikeouts now for Jimenez. Well, you can see why he is 9-0 this season. He's got all the pitch in good command. He's got a very good delivery, and he comes right at the hitters. Sets everything up with the fastball and then expands the strike zone with an assortment of breaking pitches. Victor Mesa, the manager of Cuba, had a lot of confidence in sending this guy to the mound. The big surprise is that Cuba doesn't have a hit yet.
That is a surprise, especially with all the power they've got up and down their lineup. Felipe Burin, second baseman for Brazil, looking for his first hit of the tournament. And he takes a breaking ball for a strike. He's 0 for 5. One pitch to Burin. And there is his first hit of the tournament. And that's a big one because it brings Reginado up, the best hitter for Brazil.
Interesting sequence as Jimenez shook off the catcher and got to the pitch he wanted, but he doesn't execute it. You can see it's another breaking ball. This one spins out of his hand and sits out over the plate and allows Burin to drive it right past the mound into center. He just didn't get on top of that breaking ball and threw that spinner out over the plate. Big 2-out hit for Burin.
Well, he's piling up strikeouts with the slider, but he's also been hit throwing the slider. The double by Magalhães was a slider that Magalhães hammered into the gap in left center field. And here's Reginado. Reginado was hit back in the 1st by a fastball, and Burin dives back in.
First inning, Reginado got hit by an 0-1 fastball after a breaking ball strike. Jimenez comes up and ends and clipped him on the back of the left shoulder. I don't think Burin's going to run here with 2 outs. You don't want to take the bat out of this guy's hand with a guy on base. He hit 2 doubles in last night's game. He's got some gap power.
And remember, we saw Ariel Sanchez throw out Juan Carlos Muñiz. That ended the 2nd. Although it was a bang-bang play at second that could have gone either way.
Jimenez is a real challenge for hitters in that he can throw the breaking ball over for strikes. He can change speeds with it. And then he can spot the fastball both sides of the strike zone.
We've talked about Reginado, property of the Tampa Bay Rays. Off the end of the bat, he dumps that one into center field, a base hit. Stopping is Borin at second. And all of a sudden, Brazil has a couple runners aboard for the second time.
Reginado picks up his 4th hit in 2 games, and he stays on this breaking ball. Hits it off the end of the bat, but dumps it into center field. Now that's going to bring out Juan Pena, the pitching coach.
Second time that Juan Pena's been out to the mound in a scoreless game. He's got the ace of his staff, and Victor Mesa has sent his pitching coach out there twice.
Yeah, and you can see very animated conversation about finishing off the pitches. He's making the motion of a breaking ball and probably talking about, hey, if you're going to throw it, you got to bury it. You can't leave it up and allow these hitters to put it in play. Jimenez hasn't been real pleased with the strike zone of Alfonso Marquez early in this ball game. But I think right now he should be a little more concerned about the quality of that breaking ball. It doesn't have that real bite we saw early in the game.
Well, it goes back to our conversation last night about the pitchers for Japan. They pitched with that Mizuno baseball. International baseball in Cuba, they pitch with the Mizuno baseball. The baseball used here is the Major League ball, the Rawlings ball. And as you pointed out last night, Buck, the Rawlings ball feels a little bit bigger, and to the pitchers, maybe a little bit slicker and not as tacky.
It doesn't really sound like much, and doesn't sound like it should be a big deal, but it is for a pitcher that's going to throw in a normal game 115, 20 pitches.
Breaking ball to Masamoto, and he turns on it, fouls it off. It's 1-1.
Rich, you've seen it a lot during your career in the big leagues. Is pitchers will go into the baseball bag as they're getting prepared to warm up, and they will reach in there and look for one particular baseball. Mind you, they're all the same, but they love to have a particular feel, whether it's a little bit smaller, the seams are a little higher. They're very particular about that baseball they use.
Fastball inside. Jimenez is 2-1. Here's a look with the Major League ball, the World Baseball Classic ball on the left, and the Mizuno International ball on the right.
Yeah, and the Mizuno ball, which is the official ball of the Japanese Professional League, is a little tackier and a little bit smaller. The World Baseball Classic ball is a Major League Baseball, and it's got a slick feel to it. And sometimes pitchers are really unnerved by not really having confidence in their grip.
Breaking ball, line to center field and hit deep. Heredia back, and he reaches up and makes the catch. Masamoto almost gave Brazil a 2-run lead, but Guillermo Heredia runs it down. Ishmael Jimenez escapes. Barely. In Fukuoka, there's your game summary, and the two pitchers are throwing shutouts, but very different shutouts. Jimenez has given up 4 hits and struck out 5, and on the other side, Andre Rienzo has not given up a hit to the powerful Cuban ball club. And a breaking ball grounded out towards second, and very importantly, Rienzo with 1 pitch gets an out.
Well, Brazil was threatening with 2 outs. They had a couple aboard, and Jimenez gives up a drive to center field. And watch his reaction. He hung another breaking ball, and he turns to his catcher and said, man, we got away with one right there. Could have been 2-0 Brazil. But Heredia ran it down in center for the final out of the inning. That breaking ball has been a problem for Jimenez so far.
And Rienzo gets a strike, a quick strike on Jose Abreu. And the count's 0-1. 47 pitches right now for Andre Rienzo.
7 straight retired by Rienzo, and he's changed his approach. He's trying to get ahead now. Early in the game, he was a little too tentative.
That ground ball fouled on the third base line.
Giving the Cuban hitters too much respect, and he was nibbling at the corners. Since then, he has pounded the strike zone early, gotten ahead, and really forced the Cuban hitters to think swing.
Well, the Cuban hitters don't think swing, they think home run. And you look at the numbers they put up, and you talk about what the Cubans have accomplished this year just in their league. The 0-2. A high fly ball to right. Muñiz to the track, he's there, and he makes the catch. They are very much aware, certainly, of the exploits of the players that have left Cuba. And we talked with Victor Mesa about Yoenis Cespedes, and we asked him, I said, what do you think of the players that have left Cuba and have gone on? And he said, well, you know what? We root for them. We pull for them. And he said, we watch them. They watch Major League Baseball every game.
They certainly were impressed by the way Cespedes made his adjustments last year and really kind of led Oakland to the playoffs. A great second half.
So Rienzo has retired Frederick Cepeda, Jose Abreu, and now Alfredo Despain. And he's 0-2 on Despain right now. He's retired 8 in a row.
And you can see the hitters for Cuba look to be baffled by Rienzo. That's a concerned dugout right now, looking for their first base hit.
And he got him with a breaking ball in the dirt. Dug out by França, who throws him out. 4 no-hit innings by this 24-year-old right-hander. 7 pitches in the 4th. Still scoreless in Fukuoka. In Fukuoka. A reminder, this copyrighted telecast presented by the authority, the World Baseball Classic Incorporated, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the World Baseball Classic or Ishmael Jimenez, who is on the mound but has wobbled for Cuba, and certainly that's not the script we thought this one would follow. Jimenez, the ace of Cuban baseball, has seemed mortal in this one. He's given up 4 hits. He nearly gave up 2 runs were it not for a great running catch by his center fielder, Guillermo Heredia. And on the other side, Andre Rienzo, the minor leaguer for the White Sox, has not given up a hit to this powerful Cuban team. Reynaldo Sato is up right now, and Sato takes a fastball up.
Yeah, you can see the Brazilian hitters are looking breaking ball now. They have seen so many breaking balls from Jimenez that they're looking for a breaking ball mistake. And he has left a few sliders up in the zone where they can get to him.
There's the breaking ball, and it's a roller, a sliding stop by Gurriel at third, and he throws across the diamond in time to get him. So Sato is out number 1.
Well, you can bet it doesn't hurt these Brazilian hitters to have Barry Larkin in the dugout. He will give them tips as to what to look for particular at-bats, and I think he has picked up on the fact that Jimenez is going to throw a lot of breaking balls. Nice play by Gurriel, who pops to his feet quickly and guns across the diamond for the first out of the inning.
Okay, I know this is only game 2 of Pool A, but if there's a manager of the tournament award, Barry Larkin is an early leader in that category. This is Magalhães. He doubled, and as you pointed out, if you spin one up there and leave it over the plate, he can hit it out.
Yeah, he's got a short stroke, and he can get to those hanging breaking balls. You see, they try to elevate the fastball and get him to chase. But Barry Larkin's done a terrific job with this team, going all the way back to November when they won all 3 games in the qualifying pool in Panama.
And twice they had to beat Panama at Rod Carew Stadium. There's a drive to left, and it's going to go foul. He hit one out but foul yesterday, and he cranks that one foul. The count 2-1.
You might wonder why Barry Larkin is managing Brazil. Well, when they set up this tournament, obviously they look for normal former players, former managers from the respective countries, but Brazil obviously doesn't have anybody with that kind of experience. But Barry Larkin has worked for MLB International in Brazil, putting on clinics, so they tapped him to be the skipper.
See, that's a great scene. You got a reliever warming up, and then the rest of the relievers are watching the game on television because that bullpen is hidden in the bowels of this stadium.
Well, we asked Barry Larkin about the ability to watch the opposing team's bullpen. He says, yeah, we have a monitor in our dugout, and we can see whether or not it's a righty or lefty that's loosening up. Both the bullpens are behind the respective dugouts here in the stadium.
At least you hope the relievers are watching the game.
There you see the monitor in the Cuban dugout showing their own bullpen. And they can switch.
You know, Victor Mesa is sort of the Dusty Baker of international managers in that he's got the wristbands going, and he even goes so far as to put the batting gloves on. All he needs is the toothpick, and he'll be there. 2-2 pitch coming to Magalhães.
Well, he was quite a player, and he has made the list of the top 100 athletes in Cuban sports history.
Jimenez
strikes out.
And he gets another strikeout. Jimenez. You talked about the strikeout numbers that he's amassed in Cuba, and those numbers are growing here in this ball game. His pitch count, though, is also up there. He is at 59 pitches, and so the rule states the pitch count is at 65. He does not have to stop at 65 if he's out on the mound and during an at-bat. He just has to stop after that at bat once he hits 65. A ground ball to short and fielded nicely out there. Barbaro makes the throw to first in time. Still scoreless in Fukuoka.